Hello, everybody. My name is Dr. Sarah Angel, and I'm a proud PSBM. That means Prophet Shepherd Bushiri Ministry Partner. And today we are talking about a very beautiful book that the man of God has spent time and has privileged us to have this opportunity to read chapters and chapters of it. I'm from Kenya, and we've been told to discuss chapter 4.
Absolutely. My name is Jazz Kuria, and I'm also a partner with PSBM Ministry, proud son of Major One. And yes, indeed, you have been told to review chapter 4 of this brilliant book. If you haven't gotten this book, wow, you're missing out. So
I know.
It's such a beautiful book.
It is so awesome. I was open. You remember you sent me a message.
Yes.
And son of Major, you were like, please, Dr. Sarah, you must get this book. And you have to see, because as soon as you're opening, you are feeling revelation. Absolutely. And they say there's no distance in the spirit. Mm-hmm. This book in its own, just the fact that the major prophet has decided to write this book for us, we are getting spiritual nuggets and revelations that are filling us.
It is beautiful because he's on record saying, this is an angel in our hands, in our houses. So you can imagine if you are to welcome an angel in your house. And our man of God is telling us that this book is an angel. So as you're saying, is indeed. I started reading this, and when I just took the book, I wanted to read the, behind to know what is it all about. But somehow I just opened the book, and the first thing I did was to look, and I just saw he began by the vision that he was given. So it is so rich with all the expositions of the messages we've been getting from the Jesus Nation services. I hope you've been connecting.
I have been connecting. I've been connecting. I've not been sleeping. Every time the prophet is on, be it early in the morning, I am there connecting. Because this message was not going to pass me. And I found it was very prophetic that we were chosen to talk about what will make us miss this opportunity.
What will make us fail to enter. These 3 points that our man of God has been very specific in writing them down in this chapter 4 that will make you fail to enter the Jesus Nation. We have already seen it by revelation, connecting, being part of this brilliant, mentality, having that as it was written in chapter 3. And the first one, when I read it, it blew my mind. Can I tell you what the first point is? Having a selfish mentality that puts self above others.
Exactly.
Having a selfish mentality. Tell me what you gathered when you read that first point.
For me, first, when I saw selfish mentality, I quickly went to what God, the Spirit of the Lord, is doing right now. He's doing a collaboration. So you're finding, like today, the way we've sat here, we are in different mountains, you and I.
Absolutely.
But we've come together to talk about this collaboration. So that what God is calling for people to do is move in union. Not that if you are unilaterally doing something or aloneness in your ministry, you are doing the wrong thing. It's a new move. Remember, the Bible asks us to have the mind of Christ.
The mind of Christ.
The mind of Christ means anything that God is thinking, we are to think. Selfishness comes when my mind decides what is God's mind. So if we're not in prayer to know what the mind of God is about today and the now, we are selfish. That is the first.
That is brilliant.
Yes, sir.
Selfish is, again?
Selfish is when you decide what is in God's mind, not listening to what God's mind is about an issue.
That's why it's specific that you have to put on the mind of Christ.
It is.
Wow.
And when it says, let this mind be in you, means you intentionally have to make that mind be in you.
Brilliant.
It is not, it will come automatic.
Wow.
It's not a gift, it's an intention. Jesus had to intentionally remind himself, despite me being human, I am God.
Wow.
Yes.
And you see, he's also, and thank you for sharing that, because when our man of God was sharing on this selfish mentality, he went like directly opposite by giving us an example. King Solomon. Here is God approaching this young man, asking him, giving him proverbially an open check, and asking him, my son, what do you want? When I was reading that, do you know what I would have answered?
Have
you seen the near? I know. It is. I want a Lamborghini. But Solomon was in spirit when he answered in line with the Jesus Nation mentality. For he asked for wisdom and revelation to know how to lead God's people
Yes.
who are essentially God's chosen nation.
Exactly.
And he got, wisdom and everything else that we also want.
Yes.
Yeah.
Son of Major, you have to see Son of Major when you have to hear this.
All right. Yeah.
Solomon was a youth. Means he was young and he recognized. So his selfishness was number one, removed by recognizing he was limited.
Yes.
His father David was a great warrior. Remember David, outside Moses, David was one person who had stayed in the wilderness for a very long time.
Yes.
So he had gotten training.
Wow.
Proper training. And he is a young boy, probably having low self-esteem, and young man having low self-esteem, but working it all out and sorting it out.
Yes.
So imagine now as a youth, he's asking God, give me the wisdom to raise your country, which is Israel. And guess what he was also doing? In asking so, he was conquering the 7 mountains on his own.
Because he was given all the other influences of the 7 pillars.
And I give you case in point. What was the first case Solomon handled?
It was a family issue.
Yes, the 2 women who came with children.
Family.
Jebusites.
Yes.
Yes.
Brilliant. Thank you for that. And so we need to watch about ourselves on the selfish.
Yes, sir.
Forget the idea of self.
Yes.
If you're to ever enter the Jesus nation,
yes.
the self has to die.
It has to die.
Brilliant.
Everything of yours has to die. Galatians 2:20 is real.
Yeah.
Let Jesus be the Spirit of Jesus be the only one operating in you.
Brilliant. So the second point.
Yes.
I was amazed
yes.
when it's a verse in he's mentioning
yes.
it here.
Yes.
That the Israelites were murmuring in their tents.
Yes.
So they were not murmuring in front of Moses
yes.
or the leaders.
Yes.
In their tents.
In their tents.
And that,
yes.
it was an abomination to God because God is, as we talked about, yes. He loves them. He's called them to be the first fruit of his nation.
Yes.
Yet they are sort of like not seeing what God's plan is.
Exactly.
So sometimes we might have the revelation of the Jesus nation. You want to enter it, but there's a character flaw. And I think this is very specific.
This character flaw is so big
yes.
because one of the things is that here, it's like you've mentioned, Son of Major.
Yeah.
This one is mentioned that they were in their tents.
They are in their tents.
So here you are, you've been called, you've gotten the good position in the Jesus nation.
Yeah.
But when people start to use you despitefully, you go to your home and maybe your wife and your friends are yes. on the phone, you're on the social media, grumbling to your friends and people wow. about how can they do this to me? Why are they doing this to me? I had a very interesting revelation about this one.
Dusha.
Where the chapter where God says, be as perfect as your God is perfect.
Yes.
Do you know what is said before that? Pray for the ones who hate you and persecute you and bless the ones who curse you.
Wow.
So means perfection of God is exactly absence of murmuring when people don't do great things for you. And I can see I can see you coming with a very sharp point.
Yes.
So let me quickly put this on page 144.
Please do.
You see here it says, we remember the fish we used to eat for free in Egypt.
For free.
Sometimes your situations will put you where the things you used to enjoy, it has been taken away for God to test and prepare you.
Wow.
Remember, you have been called, you are not qualified for the call.
Yes.
But God has to qualify you. He has to process you
yes.
to make you into perfection.
Wow.
Perfection means fully trained.
Yes.
So good things you'll hear. Look, if you read there, leeks. Cucumbers, leeks, onions, garlic,
wow.
pizza,
I see
KFC.
Yes. I love that. So these things will be taken away to test your character.
Yes.
And one of the things that will come out is your murmuring spirit or murmuring habit.
Yes.
And you need to cut that off.
Yes.
Wow.
Yes, sir.
Brilliant point.
Absolutely.
So the third one here,
it
is so profound. I have struggled with this.
Yes.
And this is actually one of the shortest chapters. And when I was reading this chapter, when I saw that third point, it just blew me away.
Yes.
And it's something we all have encountered it.
Yes.
Pride. Pride. Oh my God.
I know.
And the book tells us God opposes the proud, but gives grace to the humble. And we are still on the Israelites.
Yes. Yes.
God was testing their heart to ensure that pride should not be part and parcel of their condition when they are receiving, because you see the Bible talks it in, I think it's in Deuteronomy 6:11, that he will give them vineyards they did not plant, wells they did not dig, cities they did not build. So God says, if I'm giving you freely all these nations, how can you then be conceited with pride in your heart? You need to be humble. So I think this is very important. If you truly want to be part of this Jesus nation, then you need to make sure you remain humble in spirit and in conduct. Remain humble in spirit and in conduct. So those 3 points are the 3 points that will make you fail to enter. Having a selfish mentality that puts self above others. Second one is having a murmuring spirit. And lastly is pride.
Oh my God, pride.
Yes. And so for you, how are you going to apply this chapter in your own personal life?
You know, I think for me it's spending time with the person called me. Because I need to check me. I need to check me. Be that as it may, even if I'm checking myself, I need to be also remember that the turning or putting off of the old man and putting on the new man is a job of the Holy Spirit.
Brilliant. For me, when I was summarizing for myself, I noted the selfish mentalities, it affects the mind. Then I saw murmuring affects the door gate of my mouth. And then pride, of course, the condition of my heart. So I summarized them as mind, mouth, and heart. So I need to renew my mind, as you're saying, reading of the word, connecting to the sermons, what our man of God, Prophet Shepherd Bushiri, has been teaching us. This is only chapter 4 of this brilliant personal revelation of our Father Major One, aptly titled The Jesus Nation. And those 3 key things that are coming out from this chapter, you need to just have them at the core of yourself, so that you, after we've been taught, after we've prayed, after we've fasted, after we've given of ourselves, and we should not miss entering the Jesus Nation.
We should. And then we must make use of this part, when we are writing the notes. Please jot down, and please feel free to share.